Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to Wednesdays with Wallis Psychic Medium. So pleased to have you all here. It's going to be fun. It's going to be lots and lots of fun, lots and lots of things being said. But first of all, I want to thank you all for your comments. Keep them coming. Give me more comments. I'm happy to get them. Get a little bit of trolling in there, but I'm not worried about all that because, everybody's got an opinion, and it's not, we don't need to be listening to all the opinions from everyone. Little bit of a lesson there for you too, darlings. Don't worry about people's opinions. Everybody's got one, and they're all different, and everybody has their own agenda. And look, if you're coming to the site and you're not getting what you need, well, then there's plenty of other stuff out there, darlings. Go and look for that, because there might be something out there that you really need. And if you're looking for all the goss and all the gossip around, kings and queens and knights and whoever and politicians and all that, this isn't it, because I'm not into that and I don't care, and that's not what I'm bringing you. I'm bringing you, hopefully, more positive and uplifting and helpful things that you can use in your life and you can take with yourself into the future and make life a better place for yourself, because that's what I'm about. I want you to have an amazing and fabulous life. Okay, some comments. I want to give some feedback. I'll write it down because I do go through all your comments and love them. And whilst, as I've said before, I can't answer them all, darlings, but I can give you some feedback. So today, Mimi, thanks for your feedback. I appreciate it. Jackie, thanks. Dolphin, that's your little name you have on there. I only take it off the names that you have. Who said, you must be an Aussie, darling, because you said about channeling Dame Edna. Oh, God, I wish. If that's so, mwah, thank you for me, because she was absolutely one of my favourites. I just loved Dame Edna. God, she was so clever, so smart, so quick. And I don't for 1 minute say that I'm that clever and I'm that quick, but fabulous, absolutely fabulous. The man in Texas who said he loved my style, thank you. Thank you. We all love to get positive feedback and for someone to tell us, really positive things. So from the man in Texas, thank you so much for that. And Nick from the House of Prayer, thank you, darlings. You're always giving me such wonderful feedback from Pennsylvania and all the people there, and I do appreciate it. I want you to know, darling, I appreciate it. Okay, so what are we going to talk about this week? Well, the topic for this week's Wednesdays with Wallis Psychic Medium, and this is what's been coming to me, and I've been getting lots of this over this last week, and that's this thing around predictions. And can we rely upon predictions? Are they true? Are they not true? Are they something that it's just thrown around? Because we see it all the time. There's so many predictions and so much stuff being thrown around, and read through the cards and those sorts of things. And I have to say this about the cards, about any cards, is that all cards are to activate our awareness. So often I've seen people reading cards that I look at them and go, that wasn't, because many years ago, I formally learnt tarot. And, that wasn't, some of those things weren't what I see people, reading. But I also understand that I don't either at times, because cards, holding a piece of crystal, holding a piece of jewellery, all those things are sent to activate our awareness. to activate off our awareness. In other words, if you're holding something, if you're reading a card, if you're doing something, it's about the energies that you get from it. And when I'm doing readings, and those people that have had readings off me will be able to verify this, that when I'm doing readings, I just read what I get. It's not the card just gives me an activation. It gives me some energy feedback, if you will. And I then, say whatever I get off that. And normally that's pretty right. So we'll get into that in a few minutes. And I want to do, some readings for people today. But the feedback from you all is just wonderful, and I have to tell you, absolutely, darlings, it feeds my soul. It feeds me, not my ego. It feeds my soul. It affects my heart, and gives me such wonderful feelings about doing this work and about talking to you all and about, these sorts of things. I want to talk about predictions because, as I said, there's a lot of predictions and a lot of things being predicted, and people, get the energies off those, and they then translate that what they get. Some people do it through various modalities. Some people do it through cards. As I said, some people do it through other means, crystal balls or, pardon me, whatever it is that they're drawn to, that they're, reading from or getting an awareness from. And that also occurs around things like numbers, numerology. I'm very keen on numbers. Excuse me, a lot of energy going on today. I've had it since this morning. It's really, it sort of overwhelms me, and then I've got to, do this little bit of coughing. So I'm sorry, darlings, if I don't mean to be coughing in your face. But numerology is a big one. So one of the things I'm going to do this week for you is, and I best write it on a bit of paper because I want you to do this. And if you can set up in your comments next week, if you can give me, your number. Now this is this is how, and I don't know whether you already know. Some of you may know how to do this, but if you don't already know, I'm going to show you. I want you to put in next week your master number, your numerology master number, your your birth path, your birth path number. And this is how you get it. You take your birthday. So if you were born on the 1st, now, it doesn't matter which way round you do this. So if I'm talking to you gorgeous American people, this will be, you'll have this first lot transposed. I'm doing this because in Australia we have, and in England, we do dates by the day, then the month, then the year. Now in America, you do your month first and then your day. Well, it doesn't matter for the sake of this. So don't worry. You don't have to come back to me and go, oh, it's different for us. It's only just transposed. The number that we'll be doing and adding is the same. So if you were born on the 1st of the 5th, 1946, there, I've written it up for you. Can you see it, darlings? The 1st of the 5th, 1946, that would add up to, equal to 6. I'll do it. Right, so we've got 1 and 5 is 6, and 1 is 7, 16, 20, 26, right? So that would be a 26. Now, for the sake of numerology, you take this N number and you add it together. So then it becomes an 8. So you get that? Watch the video again, add it up. The 1 and the 5 and the 1946 equals 26. And then you take the 26 and it becomes an 8. So whatever numbers you get here, take it down to the next number that you get here. So this is a number 8. So life path destiny number is an 8. Okay, now I want you next week, any of you who want to and feel like it, I want you to put into the comments your number. Just put it in. I don't want your whole birth date. I don't want you telling people all those things. I just want you to do the number yourself and put it in next week, and I'm going to give you some information on that number. So if it's an 8, I'm going to give you an information on an 8, and the numbers run from 1 to 9. So your number will come down to that. The exception will be if you have a master soul, what's called a master soul number. That's an 11 and a 22. So they're the exceptions. But you let me know if you have any questions around it. Put it in the comments where I can help you with that. Your number may come out as a 10. There's no 10. It gets taken back to a 1 because all numbers are 1 to 9. So I won't talk about the complex. Some modalities of numerology talk about a 10, anyway, it's a bit complex, so we won't talk about that. We'll just do it 1 to 9, and that suffices. That's enough, and they're the numbers that we'll discuss. And master soul numbers, if your number comes to a master soul number, which is very important. Those people with master soul numbers have a great effect, or can have a great effect in their lives and what they choose to do and how they go about that on the planet and the inhabitants of the planet. So we all come for a reason. As we were talking about, or I was talking about to a lovely lady in Minnesota this morning who I did a reading with, and it was fantastic. It was fabulous, and we talked about a little bit about numerology. So I want you to give me some feedback on that, and I'll do some numbers for you next week in Wednesdays with Wallis Psychic Medium. So let's go back to talking a little bit more about this whole prediction area. And of course, there are people who predict certain things. We can do that from a social perspective. We can do it from, a population growth. We can do it over those types of things. We can pretty much run predictive analysis on certain things. But the predictions that I'm talking about are things like, Nostradamus, who predicted a whole lot of things, and people say, oh, well, Nostradamus, a lot of things came true. Of course, if you talk to a scientist or science people about this, they'll probably tell you or have a little chuckle and tell you that it's got nothing to do with what's real. It's all just made up, and that's not scientifically, quantified. But let me just say this about predictions and about a lot of these things: tarot reading, numerology, energy readings, a lot of the things that we're now accepting as more normal for ourselves are the way in which people lived a long time ago. If we go back to ancient times in Mesopotamia, and that area of the world, which was the world as we know it at that time, and the world that was the world, that was all that was known of the world at that time, was that area of Mesopotamia. And it was quite small, but, it was big for those people. That was the world. And in those times, people lived in harmony, hand in hand with, all of these types of modalities. They lived with numerology. They lived with the understanding of alchemy. They lived with all of these spiritual modalities, I'm going to call them, and they were able to plot their lives and live their lives in accordance with all of those things that they really understood to be true. And a lot of those things came from, their intuitive knowledge and a lot of, contact that they had with non-physical beings. All of that existed in that time. And then along came the Renaissance. And when the Renaissance came along, of course, all of that got thrown out the door. Astrology was, laughed at, and it all became astronomy. That was the go. Astrology was fictional, which was a load of rubbish because it wasn't. And but all those things got put aside because mindset and science came into play. So when Renaissance time came along, it became all about science. So if it wasn't scientifically quantified, well then it didn't exist. It was a joke. It was thrown out. And so, people started to look at the world, look at their lives, and they started to look at things quite differently. And there were many, many things, like in ancient times, the Kabbalah and those sorts of things, pardon me, they were modalities that were handed on verbally. They weren't, taught by hand, so to speak. They were handed on, that's the esoteric teachings of Judaism, and all those things were handed on through verbal teachings. And the interesting part about those is that some of those things faded over the years and have only reappeared when humanity was ready for them. And it wasn't all that long ago that the Kabbalah, or Kabbalah as it's called, came back into existence again and was being looked at because humanity was ready again to receive the knowledge that was given. And I believe that we're now at that point with a lot of things. We're at a point right now where, we're ready again to receive the knowledge that's out there. So I'm just saying to you, be open and allowing to those things that are being said and those things that are going on. I'm going to come back to you and say to you, or revisit again what I've said earlier, and that is, if it fits, if it feels right, then it's for you. If it doesn't, well, then it isn't. Don't force it. Don't try and take it on. Don't do it because somebody else says do it. If you don't feel good about it or you don't feel right about it, your intuitive is your guide. Okay, I want to say that to you again. Your intuitive is your guide. So look to your intuitive for things. So the bottom line to the prediction thing is it true? Are predictions true? Yes, they are. And they can be. Not perhaps quantified by science or some scientist around you or whatever else, but there's many, many, many things, and we know this. We're experiencing this in our everyday lives, that many, many things now are being brought out into the open, and there's no explanation for them. They don't have an explanation for a lot of things that are taking place. They don't have an explanation. I don't have an explanation, not a scientific explanation for you on what happens with me and the things that come, and just the sorts of things that are given to me, the conversations that I'm given to have. This doesn't all come off the top of my head. I'm saying these things to you because, I'm being prodded along. Talk about these things. And sometimes I think, well, what the hell am I going to say about that? But it's all given to me. It all comes, it all flows. it's what's meant to be. Now, not every one of you watching this video each week is going to get all that you need, but hang in there, because you might get it next week. You might have gotten it previously, but hang in there on it, because if you've tuned in, don't tune out, because you need something. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. Okay, you got that? You only turn up, and that happens everywhere in life. You only turn up at the moment in the situation you turn up in, because you're meant to be there. So if you ever doubt something, take a look at it and ask yourself the question, why am I here? What am I getting out of this? Why am I here? What's being said? And as a gorgeous lady this morning said to me, you're not always ready to receive the information either. You mightn't want to hear it. It might be something that, sets your buttons off. It might be something that, doesn't float your boat. It might give you a bit of a knee jerk, and you mightn't like it. And that's happened to us all, darlings. We've all been in that position. I've been in that position where things have happened and I've gone, oh, what a lot. I've got to tell you a little story. Many years ago, Neil Donald Wallis wrote a book, Conversations with God. And when I saw it, I really wanted to read it. I was very interested, but I was very skeptical. I have to tell you, I was very skeptical. And I had, you can't imagine how many times I picked up that damn book to read it and would put it down, because there was stuff that was being said in it really stretched me. It was like those, stretchy pants. It really stretched me. I couldn't get my head around it. I was like, what is he talking about? How can that happen? How could that be so? And there was so much stuff running around in my head. I couldn't get my head around what he was saying. So it took a lot for me to read that book, a long time. I kept putting it down, going back to it, putting it down, going back to it. I wasn't quite ready for all the things that were being said. It was a bit too much of a stretch for me. And but over time, I read it. And I read a whole lot of other things. And I finally got it. I finally understood what he was on about. I finally understood how it could happen. I finally understood. Okay, I understood what was going on. So a few years ago, not so long ago, when I created the Soul Wisdom Oracle cards, I actually went to the United States, and I spent some time with Neil Donald Wallis, just a few of us. It was only just a few people, 7 or 8 or 9 of us or something, very few people. And it was on the 20th anniversary of Conversations with God, the book. And it was marvellous. It was marvellous to sit with him and, have breakfast and dinners and, to spend time with him and to sit and listen to him and have conversations with him. And I really got to open my eyes about a whole bunch of things, and about some of the things that had happened to him and the life and what had gone on with him. And it really broadened my horizons. And it was in fact, it was that whole meeting and that conversation, and he said to me, Wallis, go home and write a book. And I actually had been writing. I write all the time. I love it. But when I came home, I didn't. I channeled my Soul Wisdom Oracle cards, and that was something that I absolutely did not expect to be doing. But I came home and I channeled those cards, and the rest is history, really, as they say. It sort of went on from there. I still had, some pushback on a few things. I'm just getting ready to shuffle some cards here. I had to push back on a few things, but things started to come together for me. And, you know, here I am today doing what I'm doing. So, predictions. Yes, absolutely. There are people who accurately predict things. There are others who don't. There will always be amongst everybody who does things those people who are not sincere about what they do. But that's life. We get that in all walks of life and in everything. There are always insincere people, and there are always sincere people who are bringing forward and doing the best and really have the best intentions when they put things forward. And you'll become, if you're not already very discerning, you will become more discerning about those people and about those things in life if you're not already. And by the comments that you make, I think there's a lot of very discerning people out there. And there's certainly a lot of you. And I think you're wonderful. Okay, now Brenda in Arizona, darling, I'm going to do a little reading for you, darling. Let's have a look and see. Oh, whoa. Okay, I'm going to put this out because this fell. Isn't that just beautiful? It's called The Storyteller, Brenda. And it jumped out. I've had that happening today in my readings. Bloody cards have been jumping out all over the place. It's jumping Jack Flash, I tell you. Things, they're throwing them out at me today. Look at this, look at me, look at me. So I'm putting that one out, but I am going to shuffle here and I'm going to see what else comes out as well. I've already got stuff coming in around that card, the storyteller, and I've got a little bit to tell you, a little bit to say about that for you, Brenda. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to put that one down as well. Soul wisdom. It's been coming out today. There's a lot around that going on. But you're a lucky girl. They're being thrown at me. So, oh, okay. And this other card is the sorcerer. Okay, now I'm going to just read off those. I don't have to add to those cards, and the reason I don't is because there's enough there for me to do a fairly good reading for you, and I do want to do a couple of others. So what came out for you, Brenda, was or is the sorcerer, soul wisdom, and the storyteller. Now, I'm going to go with the cards in order. I'm going to go with, first of all, put them in order here. I'm going to go with the storyteller to start with. We are mythic beings, you know. We're storytellers. We live on storytelling. We understand history and all the things that we've ever done and the things that we do today based on our storytelling. We are great storytellers. But what I'm getting around this, when it came out and when it fell out, I want to know, Brenda, I want to know what you're telling yourself, darling. What's going on? You've got some nice little storytelling around things close to you, and you're telling yourself those. It's all a story. Is it true? Probably not. There's a lot of stuff going on around you, and you're talking to yourself a lot about it. And I just want to tell you that it's a story, okay? And it's not necessarily the truth. Now, if you were standing in front of me, you'd probably be very indignant because I'm feeling that. I'm feeling this being pushed back on me and indignant against what I'm saying. But I just want you to have a think about it and know that everything that goes on in our lives, things only mean what we believe they mean, okay? I want you to get that, Brenda. Things only mean what we make them mean. Took me a long time to get my head around that one, darling, because We have such stories around everything that we do and say. Example, you go to a party, you walk in the door, you're all dressed, etc., etc. Somebody looks your way and immediately you think to yourself, oh, they don't like what I'm wearing. They think I look like an idiot. How many times have we done that, all of us? It's not true, is it? It's just simply we make it up, don't we? It's in our mind. We make that up. They might be looking at us thinking, oh, doesn't she look great? But we wouldn't stop to think that. We would rather stop and think that they're probably being critical of us, so don't like, or they're laughing at us underneath it, right? So it's all story. It's only what you make it mean. So whatever going on around you, Brenda, the stories you're telling yourself, darling, you're only making it mean something. Doesn't mean anything. Only means what you're making it mean. Make it mean something else is what I'm saying. Soul wisdom. Go with your intuitive. Go with your soul wisdom. Go with our intuitive is our language of our soul. It's the way in which it communicates with it. It communicates with us via this intuitiveness. You're a bit caught up in what all this other's being said to yourself. Don't get caught up in all that. I want you to move on. Make comments, darling. You can tell me I'm wrong. You can tell me I'm right. Just give me some feedback would be great. The sorcerer. Okay. What does this say to me? What this says, Brenda, is don't be on the receiving end of things, darling. Be the source of whatever it is that you want. You be the outcome. And that comes back to this storytelling thing. You, Brenda, you be the outcome, darling. Don't be the recipient. Don't be on the receiving end of it all thinking that it's all about you in this negative way. It isn't, love. It'll be what you make it. Make it mean something else. Be the source of your life. Don't be the source of your discontent, is what they're telling me. I hope that means something to you. I'm going to shuffle these little monsters again. Thank you, Brenda, for putting up with me, and I'm happy to have your, comments. Okay, Schwitzy, that's what I've got. I've picked you out. That's your handle. I don't know where you are or what your name is actually. That might be a surname, or it might be an abbreviation of some name. You might be from a Scandinavian country or from Switzerland. Switzy, could be. You might be from Switzerland, are you? I don't know. But anyway, Switzy, this is for you, darling. And I'm shuffling the cards again, and I'm going to do my one card reading for you as well. Bit of a different week this week, isn't it, kiddies? I didn't do a main reading over anything else. I chose to do this and have that little chat about predictions because I know there's a lot being said and people are probably wondering what the... And I noticed that a lot of those predictions get a lot of hits. They get a lot of people. They get a lot of people looking at them. So people are interested in what's being predicted. So, yeah, just be discerning. It's not all... Don't take it as being the last word in everything. It isn't. Okay. Oh, here we go. Myth fell out, but I'm going to pull another one for you as well, Switchy. Just give me a second here to do this, and I'm going to pull out another card for you. I love it. Okay, Myth. I pulled out Myth for you and Magician. Magician, one of my favourite cards. I love it, love the Magician. Okay, now, what came for me when I pulled this out is that there's magic in your life. There you go. Oh, God. Lots of magic. Switzy, lots of magic. And you're the magic. You're the magic in your life. You take hold of the reins, love. I don't know what's going on, but almost feel myself sitting in a carriage and these beautiful horses pulling this carriage. And if I'm not careful and I let go, they'll run off with me. I want you to hang on to your life, darling. If you're not careful, it'll run away with you. It'll be out of control. Hang on to your life. Hang on to what you're doing. And I'm not talking about control. I'm talking about decision making. Make decisions for you. You're the magician. You've got the magic. You've got all that you need to steer your life in the direction that you want it to go. Where's all this stuff coming from? Why am I saying this to you? Oh, the hell, I don't know. But you make the decisions. Myth. This is about, oh, don't you love it? Look at her all dressed up in all her beautiful finery, and she's climbing up this rocky outcrop, and people would be thinking, oh, she can't do, look at her, she's going up there in all, she needs to have her mountain gear on and she needs to be dressed in something else to be climbing those mountains. It's a myth. So what I'm saying to you is there's stuff going on around you, things being said around you, and it's a myth. It's a myth. It's stuff, just stuff, darling. You're the magician. Make a decision for yourself. Make sure you keep hold of your own life. And that was the image I got about the horses. Right, done. Eileen, before I go, I'm going to do a quick reading for you, Eileen, because I picked out your name and I'm not going to leave it sitting there and I haven't done a reading for you. I don't know where you are, darling, but you made a comment this last week on the video. I love your comments. Keep making comments, sweeties. I just love your comments. Love your comments. Even those who, rattle on about, I didn't give them what they wanted. Well, that's life, love. Welcome to the bloody world at large. We don't always get everything we want. Surprise, surprise. So if you didn't get what you want, I don't mean it to sound like that, darlings, but honestly, if you didn't get what you want, I haven't got everything I want either. If you didn't get what you want out of it, well, then I don't know. Keep searching, because it might be out there for you. I'm feeling a bit naughty today, you can tell. Sometimes I get in these very naughty moods, and I can be a bit incorrigible, a bit recalcitrant, and love it. Don't get me wrong. It's a bit tongue in cheek, the apology. I'm not really apologising. I'm just simply putting you on notice that I can be a bit naughty and I can say things that are a bit, a bit challenging. But that's okay. I can do that. Why? Because I've reached a certain age where I can and I don't have to play around and dance around. Okay. Oh, love it. I'm going to have a look at the one on. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I've pulled out those two and I want to just cover off on that, Eileen. Going to cover off on this. Sacred space is one of them. Everyone needs a sacred place, a sacred space, somewhere. My words are getting all chewed up today. Somewhere to retreat to, something to, some place to go to. So if you haven't already got one, either in the corner of your house or out in the yard, a lady I was reading for this morning had a beautiful, beautiful space inside, but she's keen now to create one externally. So if you haven't got a space for yourself, you need space. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting, Eileen, you need some space, doll. Perhaps go and get some space. This card came too. See this card, fear? You're contemplating doing something, Eileen, but you're fearful, very fearful about it. You're getting into your head, you're not really sure. Go off to this place and sit and have some quiet time and ask the questions you need to ask. And this card here, I know it's trite and it sounds, old and washed up. Feel the fear and do it anyway. But what I'm suggesting to you is that fear is just, look, it's okay. I want you to know it's okay. It's okay to fearful. Now, I'm going to suggest to you, don't embrace the fear. I don't want you taking it in and internalizing it and owning it. You don't have to do that, but acknowledge it, okay? I want you to acknowledge you're fearful and that it's okay to be fearful. And I want you to say to yourself, I'm fearful and I'm going to rely upon the universe to show me the way out of my fear. Okay, I'm going to rely upon the universe to show me a way out of my fear, because we often take fear and we really internalize it. We grab hold of it and we own it. We have to own it. We have to own all that it represents. And quite frankly, ending up with sweaty palms and, nearly passing out might be the least of it. Don't own it. You don't need to own fear. You just need to accept the fact that you feel fearful. But it too will pass. Okay? I'm going to go with that. Okay, feedback, kiddies. I want you to give me comments. I want you to say hello. I want your participation. I absolutely love it. A little bit of shameless self-promotion. Yes, I am open to taking readings. I have more spaces, of course, for readings. So please book for your readings. But book early. Well, it does fill up. I don't want to, be the bearer of bad news. But it does, time fills up. And the other thing is, subscribe. Hit on the button below and subscribe to the channel, because with your subscriptions and the advertisements, the stuff they put before the videos and that creates a bit of revenue for us. And like everything, that's what keeps the thing ticking over. Close me book. I'm done. I've said enough this week. I've run over time a little bit. But you won't worry too much about that, or I hope you don't anyway. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for all your wonderful, wonderful comments. And as I say every week when I leave here, you go with me and you do. I love you all. I care about you. I want your lives to be amazing. I want them to be fabulous. I want more than what you want for you. So, darlings, just give yourself a bit of a shake. I want amazing for you. So if you don't at this point of time want amazing for yourself, give yourself a bit of a shake, because you should be having at least that in your life. You should be living an amazing life. And that doesn't mean it doesn't have its ups and downs. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have its challenges. It doesn't mean that you won't be fearful of things. It doesn't mean any of that. But what it does mean is that you'll have the understanding and the knowledge to cope with those things when they come along in ways that you'll be able to glide through it. It won't be the challenge that you think it'll be. The boogeyman under the cupboard or in the hallway cupboard, like it was when I was a kid, and you run past it as fast as you can, simply won't be there when you get a little bit bigger and open the door and find it's an empty space, or there's a whole lot of bloody junk in there. Enjoy your week. I love you. I've thrown my arms around you and give you all a hug, and I'll see you next week on Wednesdays with Wallis, Psychic Medium. See you then. Bye for now.